World's fastest clapper!
Oh, that got warm.
I just scratched myself. What do you have to say about this, duck?
I didn't have a home for a few days.
You are homeless?
It seems like a lot of people recently, all of a sudden, a lot of vloggers were getting condos and stuff, and we're like, huh, doesn't seem that hard.
They made it seem like it's the easiest thing in the world. They're like, yo, I just got a bloody condo, bro. They're all British, by the way.
Yes, every vlogger's British.
Or wait, European accent? I got the condo today! It's not racist if we're white.
But yeah, everyone was getting condos. We're like, we're gonna stay here for a while. Let's get a bloody condo.
Like we said, we thought it would be an easy process. I know some of you guys saw on Instagram that were like, hey, we want a condo. And you saw a condo video with the Trion. So today we're gonna tell you just the process of getting this condo. We're just gonna go through, kind of tell you everything that we had to go through and just kind of more information about. Trifate's doing an informational video?
If you want more, let us know in the comments.
What?
Lately, I've been feeling disconnected.
As a lot of you know, we have been in the Philippines for almost 4 months, which is a long time. And we've been living in an Airbnb. The Airbnb was small, but it worked for us. The Wi-Fi was good, which was the most important. And I mean, that's just kind of been our life. We'll talk about more of that in the future, but you kind of know we've just been here for a while.
We knew we were gonna stay for a while going in the future, so the first decision we had to make when finding our condo was whether or not we wanted to buy or to rent. And from what we saw, we could buy for pretty cheap. It's just we'd be locked into like a contract, stuff like that. So we thought we would buy to start.
It was just the like mentality of when you rent, you kind of just throw the money away because you obviously pay to live in the place, but it doesn't go anywhere. It just disappears. So we figured if we buy it, eventually we can sell it. That was the first big decision. So we asked people for realtors and we started looking online to see what we could find. And it was an interesting story. As you saw, we got in touch with a realtor and that brought us to the Trion Tower. And we walked along with this realtor through the Trion Tower. And if you go watch the video, we obviously explain more about it. But the room was really nice. We were like, oh, wow, look at this. So we told the woman our budget. And so we thought it was gonna be in our budget. And then they hit us with the reality of the video. It was 22 million pesos and the down payment was $40,000 and the monthly rate was $2,000.
That really killed the hopes for buying for a bit, but then we saw this rent-to-own scheme.
Which is a rent-to-own? It's not even that we discovered it in that or online or something. It's other vloggers talked about rent-to-own and we're like, oh. And they even explained it in a way where it was like, oh, you pay your down payment over a couple months.
As rent.
But right when we go online and we go on the Facebook Marketplace where we did most of this stuff, turns out, no, to rent to own, first you need to pay 7.5% generally to even get in the door of this place. And 7.5% a lot of times was around $12,000 to $20,000, which again is just not something you can just throw out of nowhere. And getting like a bank loan seemed to be very challenging for these things in the Philippines as foreigners.
Like the rent-to-own thing, the original idea, we're like, wow, this is literally perfect.
It's exactly what we wanted.
It's exactly what we wanted. And then they would also charge a reservation fee too and stuff like that. And the info was just not concise between like what we had heard, which sounded perfect, and then what the reality was. The realtors that were selling the rent-to-own scheme were the most hound-like realtors ever.
We would contact them on Facebook Marketplace. We'd be like, hey, is this available? Can we have a price breakdown? And some of them would wait. They would like not give you the down payment price. We'd be like, what is the thing? Then they just tell you the monthly payment. They'd be like, oh, it's only 18,000.
Move in right now.
Move in, come on, 18,000. And then just a 7.5% down payment. And I was like, what's the down payment? And they'd be like, well, it's only 18,000 a month. And I'd be like, what's the down payment? How much is the down payment? And then after you push, eventually they'd be like, well, it's whatever, 200, 300,000, up to 700,000 pesos. And we'd be like, what's the point of rent to own if you have to pay the down payment anyways?
We could not find a single rent to own that was actually rent to own, it seemed like.
Even the stuff we looked up on rent to own said you pay for the down payment by renting it. That was the whole point.
Yes. So then from what we saw, the rent to own scheme was literally just buying a place.
It was, yeah. And then you just pay for it. You pay a bunch for the down payment, then you just rent it for a couple months, but you're locked in because you already paid the down payment.
You've already paid for almost 10% of the property at that point.
So it didn't make any sense. So we were like, why wouldn't we just take out a whole loan to buy this? Like, what's the point? We're just paying them. We could just pay the bank, but we can't do it because we can't get full loans for houses because we're foreigners. So one of the realtors also was like, oh, call me. And we're like, okay, call them, talk to him. And he was getting just listing all this stuff, like an unreasonable amount of stuff. Like, oh, it's this and this and this. And this was in BGC. This was Uptown, I think. And then he was like, oh, but the down payment is this. I can spread it over 3 months if you want, blah, blah, blah. And after that, he would call back every single day, multiple times a day. He would try to call and be like, and then keep texting. Do you want this? Sir, I can show you another place. Sir. And clearly we were not interested. And we said, we're not interested anymore. We're looking at different places. And he kept going. And the person from Trion kept going too.
There's a few people messaging me that just kept going. And we mentioned this in other videos, but when people like super try to sell us stuff, it sketches us out more because they're trying really hard. I feel like there's something wrong with the place, and that's why they are trying to like cover it up and be like, oh, buy. Don't think, buy, don't think.
Honestly, from being in the Philippines and going to the mall, it seems like that's just a thing here. I mean, you go to the grocery store and people are trying to sell you stuff. I went to the pharmacy and people are trying to sell me stuff at the pharmacy. It's really, I don't like it. It makes me want to not buy things when people try to come up and heckle. They're like, hey, you want this? Look at how great this is. Like, I was looking for vitamins. And the woman was like, hey, look at this. Wow, look at vitamin C, vitamin blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I just want to read them myself, please.
Sometimes if you like ask them for a bit of advice too, they'll always just give you the most expensive one. You're like, what's the best option? The most expensive one?
Like when we got this PC, we were going to get a cheaper PC. And we're like, oh, maybe we should get this cheaper monitor. I was like, oh, maybe we should get this one. This is the one from online. She's like, oh, you don't want that one. And that's all she said. And then she just rung up this one, which is not good.
Yes, but anyways, that was the story with our realtors. They were crazy. We were in Victoria Station 1. Right next to it was Victoria Sports Tower, a relatively new building with these nice sports amenities. And it seemed like we could get a pretty decent buying option from them. So we went and toured it. We got some decent prices on condos where we'd only start by paying a, 2.5% down payment?
Yes.
So that was very affordable for us, and we'd only pay $300 a month. That was basically the same we'd saw for a lot of rent places. Wow, this is perfect. We might as well just buy it at this point. We were super into this Victoria Sports Tower. They gave us a free year membership to all the sports facilities.
The amenities were sick.
It was not just basic sports facilities. They had multiple swimming pools, multiple basketball courts, boxing, rock climbing, like any sport you could want. Tennis courts, badminton courts.
They didn't have baseball, indoor baseball.
What the heck? But yeah, it was really perfect for us because we'd just cancel our other gym membership and then we'd have that. And we were settled on 2 units. We were gonna buy them. We were like, let's just think about it a little bit more. We told the realtor guy, we were like, we're pretty confident in this. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll probably buy. We just need to check out the room again. They didn't let us view the room because it was too late. We just gotta check out the room one more time. We'll come back. We'll be very confident we're gonna buy it. And he was like, the sports membership promo expires today, but I'll see if I can get it tomorrow.
That was the kicker.
And then we're like, so there's these promos they're giving us, but they're not promos,
But they can also extend the promo. They're like, well, I guess I'll be able to extend it until noon tomorrow. And then suddenly, later on that night, they're like, well, maybe you guys should come by at 10 because it's really hard for me to get the promo till noon, so I can only get it till 10. So you guys come over at 10 and buy this.
And whenever we get pressured into buying things, they're trying to get us not to think about it, and then we get to feel a bit uneasy.
We were literally like, why? If you can do it tomorrow, what is the difference between 2 hours other than
just pressure?
Something was really up with that.
So we pulled away. We thought about it a little bit more. Didn't want to make a rash decision. It seems like if you want the process to go very quickly for buying or renting, just make a rash decision and just stick with it. But if you want to make the best decision, just every time you're about to commit, just step back a little bit. We did that. And we're like, with our current schedule, we want to stay for about 6 months, for sure in the Philippines. Maybe let's just rent.
So we moved on to renting after this whole debacle. We texted the guy and we're like, hey, I don't think we want it anymore. And he's like, wait, please come down, please. please come and meet me. We will, I'll show you some more rooms and we'll talk about it and blah, 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 blah. But he wasn't really willing to give us a discount anymore because they had the promo going on. So he was like begging. He called for the next week straight every day. He was like, guys, please, oh, I can give you a rental, blah, blah, blah. They're not furnished. I mean, the place just wasn't, we didn't get any furniture. We got a few basic amenities, a microwave, a fridge, air conditioner. I think that's about it. So we were like, yes, let's rent. So we spent the next 2 weeks looking at some SMDC places, so grass residences where we ended up. We're looking at Light, which is kind of closer to BGC at the Bonnie MRT. Air
That's
and
where
Makati.
Whistle lives, I believe. They reached out to us on
Whistle Family Vlogs.
on Instagram and like helped us out a little bit during that.
Jazz Residency, just kind of places in SMDC because we could find cheaper places. At this point, in Victoria Station 1, where we kind of saw the sizes of condos we could afford, was when we decided that maybe we should get separate condos and have more space. Because it seems like they always try to shove two bedrooms into a small room. So just having 2 one-bedrooms just kind of seemed like easier, more spacious option.
We wanted to get some gaming PCs and some desks and a nice setup to really get down and get to work. So we needed the space too.
We literally could not fit 2 gaming PCs in a place we were at.
No.
And all of them seemed to be about the same size for 2 bedrooms. So eventually we looked at the options. We're like, Makati, it's too far from the MRT and we need the MRT a lot. And it'll just kind of be a hassle to get to there every day, even if there's buses and stuff. We'll have to walk more. Light was too busy. That road is really loud. We were on EDSA commooning for the whole time we were here and it's loud.
I'm 39 floors up and pretty far away from the busy street, and there's still some sort of noise pollution every once in a while. So the noise pollution's a big thing when we have to film videos on this. We don't want background noise, so that's why Light didn't work.
It was a problem in our last place was the buses. So we decided with grass, which we were finding places for about, I mean, you could get them from, some of the places were like $220 up to $500 a month, so like 13,000 to up to 25,000 pesos a month. And we decided with this, right next to SM North, we literally walk to SM North every day.
It's our mall. This is our area. We know this area very well.
We're Quezon City.
Another reason we like this.
BGC vloggers? No. Sick of those.
Quezon City.
So we're in grass and we decided, we started picking out a bunch of places and the drama only got worse.
So to start with the drama, after we started picking out some places, all of a sudden the water stopped working at our Victoria Station 1 apartment. Every day it would cut out for probably, I think they had active about 6 hours of water every day. The rest of the day, no water. Couldn't flush the toilet, couldn't shower to clean yourself, not able to use the faucet to wash your hands, make food. So that was getting really annoying. They basically were like, "We're sorry, it's happening. We'll get it fixed as soon as possible." That lasted for a while and we got very fed up with that. And at the same time we were getting fed up with that, we watched as all the rental properties were sold. So then we were like, okay, we need to start touring some of these places. And then you'd think, oh, we're starting to tour some places. Maybe we'll have some good options. We'll be able to decide pretty quickly. We tour tomorrow, then the next day we can decide on which place we want. But we were very wrong.
So I got in touch with some realtors on Marketplace. Most of the ones you contacted did not respond to you, first of all.
Yeah, I probably reached out to 15 or so.
Just not a trustworthy face. I wouldn't trust that. But got in contact with some realtors, probably about 5 or so of them. And the first one, we were finally gonna go view it. She was like, yeah, I got 5 places. I got 5 places you can check out. And then we're gonna go. And then she's like, actually, wait, I can only show you 1 today, so maybe tomorrow I'll show you some more. I can show you 3 tomorrow. So we're like, okay, tomorrow. We wait all day for this person to be like, okay, at 3 we'll meet up and go there. Just doesn't say anything, she's gone. And we're like, all right, I guess we're not doing anything. So we go check out some other places with some other people. It takes all day. Every time we tour a place, it takes all day.
And not to mention we were only 5 to 10 minutes away from these condos. Like it wasn't transportation that took so long.
I mean, some of these people, we'd go there and we'd sit and we'd wait for half an hour, 40 minutes, we'd be sitting in the lobby.
Filipino time.
It was terrible because we had a time and we'd show up And then we'd sit there and we'd be like, where are you? And they're like, oh, I'm coming. Just wait. 30 minutes gone by. Are you coming?
One of them, we stood outside for hours and they just didn't show up.
They didn't show up. That's the realtor. So we went with these other realtors and we've toured some places. Some of them were slow. One of them took so long that the other one showed up for the next appointment and they were there at the same time. And then we were like, I guess we'll go with you first and then we'll come back for you.
It's pretty awkward.
It was.
To say the least.
But then that woman with the 5 rentals contacted me again. She's like, okay, I can meet you. It was the next weekend. I'll meet you here. I'll be there at 3 or whatever. And so we get there at 3, sitting there for an hour goes by and we're like texting her, where are you? And then all she responds is, wait. That's it. Wait. And then we're like, this is what we had to respond. We're like, okay, you're a terrible realtor. We're leaving.
This is after she screwed us over multiple times already.
Whole days. We wait for her until 3 o'clock. We can't do anything after 3. I mean, we can go to the mall or something. That's about it. After 3 o'clock, if you wait for them to text, they're like, okay, I'll text you when I'm leaving. We'll be there at 3, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't show up.
6 o'clock randomly will be like, oh, well, actually.
So it's like, so we're like, okay, we're leaving. Goodbye. And then apparently, instead of responding or telling us hours ago that she had an emergency, she just texted another realtor a screenshot, and the other realtor was like, wait, I can show you places. Okay, I'll be there, blah, blah, blah. I can be there at 5, and that's still an hour and a half away. And we're like, okay, well, I guess we'll go eat. And we have another person we're meeting after this. And I think that person that we met after that was this place.
Okay. And it was just one property. It wasn't someone showing 20 of them to us at the same time.
So then this new realtor who was texting us, she was like, oh, sorry, she's so terrible. I know, she should have told you. That was really bad, really unprofessional.
Already trying to build the repertoire.
Yep. So we go, and she's like, okay, I'll be there at 7. And we go at 7. We sit there. Don't hear a thing from her until 8. We see, she says like, okay, I'm showing a Korean man rental. I'll be there really soon. That's at like 6:50. So like 30 minutes later,
just chilling on the couch in the lobby.
30 minutes later, we're like, where is this chick? We see a Filipino woman and a Korean man walk by, and we're like, is that her?
They just don't even look. She doesn't pull out her phone to text us. She just walks straight to the elevator with them.
She knows we're waiting. We've been waiting for a half an hour. She just walks right by. And we're like, was that her? That was a Korean man and a Filipino woman with a clipboard.
So we wait another 30 minutes. And then we're like, okay, we need to mention something to her. So we keep messaging her, and then she finally comes down with it was them.
She didn't say anything. She didn't say anything.
It was them. And then it was like, it ended up being super awkward because we're being shown units with someone else who's also searching for them. And it was a mess.
We were literally in this place with the Korean guy, and he clearly didn't want to be there. We didn't want to be there. The woman who was selling the place was like minimum 20,000 pesos, and we were like, no, the other place was nicer.
We found better places for
cheaper. And the Korean guy was just walking around like this. He's like, all right, can we go? And then the realtor has the audacity to be like, so what do you think about this place? Can you give it a rating out of 10 to the Korean guy? She doesn't look at us at all.
She just ignored us the whole time.
She only cares about this Korean guy.
She definitely knew some sort of info about how long he was staying, to where our 6 months was less relevant to her than however much money she was going to get out of the Korean man.
She was trying to make the sale for this Korean guy. She barely talked to us the whole time in this room. We were just standing there. We were just like, I was literally like, what is happening right now?
It was so weird. I think us and the Korean man had the same thoughts. We were like, what the heck? Super weird. Let's just leave. And then after she asked the rating, he was like, it's pretty good. Then he slowly started drifting towards the door with us. And then we were just kind of all just sitting there while the realtor talked with the owner of the place. And we're like,
and she apparently haggled it down to 18,000 pesos from 20. The realtor was like, oh no, the owner was like, no, only 20, that's all we're taking. But then, later on, that didn't seem to be the case. So continue this story. We see all these rooms. We saw one earlier that was from an owner only, no realtor. That's the one I ended up getting. So we just saw like 4 units that day, and all of them were available that day. We were a little concerned because this realtor was showing all of the same units to another person at the same time. And we were literally like...
And we noticed already on Facebook Marketplace how many would just disappear, or we'd ask if they're available and they just say no.
No, we sold them. No.
So we're like, okay, we need to make a decision ASAP.
So the one with the person that owned the place, I ended up getting, it was $18,000, which seemed like a lot. There's a lot of stuff, but the place had, I mean, air conditioning. It has a dehumidifier.
Oh, the owner was like the first person that during the whole process that we met that seemed just like a nice guy.
Yeah, and he showed up early.
Yes, he showed up early. We were there, we did a nice little tour. He talking to us like we were people, not interested in seeing how much money he could get out of us. He seemed like he just kind of wanted to rent it while he was gone.
Yeah, because he was moving back to Canada. He was a Filipino from Canada. And he wanted 25 with a parking place. And I was like, well, I don't need a parking place. So can you do 20? He was like, okay, yeah, I can do 20 since there's no parking spot. The day before we were buying the place, it was like, 20 might be too high for it. So I think we'll probably look somewhere else. And then he was like, okay, that's probably the lowest I can do. I'd be like, oh, well, maybe we could do 18. And he was like, okay, I'll think about it. And then 3 minutes later, okay, 18.
So we had one apartment locked in for a decent price point. We were like, all right, now just the second one. Let's get a second one. And
we had a lot of options at the beginning.
We did. We had there's this really nice one. It was one of the cheapest ones we saw. That was the 18 price point that we used as reference to get everyone else down. It was a nice one for 18 and it had everything we needed. And we're like, okay, we'll do this one. They didn't respond for a long time. And then guess what? It's fracking sold. So now that a day has passed, we're scared that the other ones are gonna have sold.
And another tidbit of that, it wasn't even sold. They just were showing it and they had no... They weren't even gonna sell it. They were just...
tenant extended or whatever.
Yeah, the tenant extended. Or that one of the tenants that was renting another one of their rooms was like, oh, I'll have this one. And they're just like, okay.
They just, again, the whole theme of this is people screwing us out of our time. So then, I don't even remember which one we chose after this, but we chose another one.
The one with the lady that was the awkward Korean room.
Okay, yeah, we chose that one where it was like, it was a nice place. It was just a little bit more expensive than what we wanted and for how much you got. But we were like, whatever, we'll just settle for it. I don't even remember what.
Oh, this is what happened. So the realtor heckled it down to 18, right? And then suddenly the woman was like, the owner was like, my business partner only wants 20. We'll not go any lower. And then we were like, okay, but we're only gonna do 18. So if you want a renter, we'll only do 18. They're like, I'll let you know. And then they seemed like they were gonna do it. They're like, okay. And then they're like, no, only 20, sorry. We just had a Chinese tenant give us a 5,000 down payment or something like that. I was like, what?
Thank you for mentioning that he's Chinese.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
It was really weird. This is like a sub note, but I want to add information that made it also hard to find condos. A lot of condos required a 1-year lease or post-dated checks.
True, we didn't talk about
all of which we had none of. So we needed 6 months and no post-dated checks, which limited our options astronomically. So
at least half.
So when we're saying we're settling for a place here, we're really settling. We're like, okay, we just need to get a place. We don't have running water right now. We need to get out of our brand new place.
Well, there was literally multiple places where we're like, okay, well, we can pay you literally every month in cash. We can pay you 3 months in advance if you want. And they're like, no, you need PDC. And we're like, why? Why? It's just that the PDC thing is just such a scam to me. And the way, even like a realtor, we were talking to her and she was like, well, you need PDC. And I was like, why exactly do you need PDC? And I was just kind of confrontational about it. And she tried to explain it like, oh, well, you need it for this and this. And it's like, okay, so it's just a scam.
Yeah.
You just want your money right away.
Just want to make sure that even if someone backs out, that they get the money.
And if you are a terrible owner and you don't like provide the basics, that you still get your money. Because that's one of the things of renting a place is you
need leverage.
Yeah, you have rental power if you can withhold your monthly rent if they don't fix something that is clearly broken. And you're like, okay, my air conditioning doesn't work. It hasn't worked since I got in here. Fix it or I'm not paying.
And then you can be like, I'm leaving. The contract is void now.
Yeah. But with PDC, you lose that because they already have all the money.
They have post-dated checks. It's dated to when you're supposed to pay the rent and they have all of them. They just deposit it once the date hits.
And then of course 1 year lease. We're like, we can't do 1 year. We're not going to be here for 1 year. We're not buying this place. We're renting this place.
Yeah, so that was one of the constraints. Now back to finding the last condo.
His condo?
Yes. Then we just settle on this place. This one, we asked them, is it available? They were really slow to respond, but then it was available. And we're like, okay, we'll do it. We get it. And the move-in day. It was the 28th of November.
Well, my person, which is the owner, is actually the owner had moved back to Vancouver at this point. So it was the owner's girlfriend and the owner's sister were texting, and they were like, okay, because we told them before that we wanted to move in on the 8th. And then we're like, actually, can we move in on the 28th? Because we don't have water and we really would like to get a place with water. And they're like, okay. And they were responding really slow. And we were like, do you have any updates? And they were like, tomorrow I'll let you know. I can't get a hold of the guy in Vancouver. And then the next day at 10 a.m. they're like, okay, it's ready, you can come here. And I was like, okay, Isaac, I'm leaving. We packed the night before. I was like, see you later. I'll let you know when, because I had the texts coming in from his person too. So I was like, I'll let you know when they tell me when they're ready. Yeah. So he waited at the Airbnb for the Airbnb's host's mom to come and check us out. And I was like, you can just stay there. Because I went to the place to meet the people at 10 a.m. and when you come into Grass, they don't let you in. If you don't live there or you don't have somebody to let you into the building, they will make you wait there until the person shows up. So I got there, waited there for minimum 45 minutes.
The security guards at this point knew us.
They knew us. Yeah. Literally the woman security guard, every time we walk by, would be like, hey, how are you? And then, so we waited there for 45 minutes, and finally the person showed up, and they're like, okay, hi, let's go. Then just went, did the signing process, checked all the things. Isaac's just sitting there this whole time.
I'm sitting in the lobby of the Victoria Station 1, which wasn't air conditioned, and for some reason there's mosquitoes in there. I'm just sitting there in the lobby, just chilling I checked out at 12. I believe I sat there for 5 hours. 4 hours maybe, just on a couch in the lobby, just sitting there the whole time, just every like 30-40 minutes getting occasional tidbits of information because the realtor for my place would respond slow, and they would be like, oh, sign the contract. I signed the contract, and they're like, oh, actually every page of the contract. Okay, but there's no like spot, just every page. And then that didn't work, so then it was like, sign a piece of paper and then we'll put it on the contract. 30-minute intervals each time they responded, so it just took forever.
And as this was happening, he was sitting there, I was just doing the paper stuff. Like, they'd have to go get clearance from the place, so it would take 2 hours to get the clearance. They let me put my stuff in the place, but then go out, wait for them to get the clearance, sit there. We only got to really sit in the actual place I was buying for 10 minutes. And then other than that, it was walking around, doing stuff, waiting for these people to respond. Isaac's person was like, okay, I think it'll be done between 2 and 5.
They said no later than 5, so.
And then I was like, okay, Isaac, just stay there. I'll let you know when they get here after 5. 6?
Something. It was like 5:30 that I left the place, I think. And I didn't have enough hands for all the bags. There was just one more bag that I couldn't carry. So I had one bag here. I had backpack, holding one like this, and then one on top of it covering my face. Got the taxi over finally at 5:30. Got there, and that was just so I could just wait in his apartment.
Yep.
It still wasn't ready for me.
So I left at 10, remember? And I finally got into my apartment at like 5:30.
I got into his apartment at about 6, and then we were hit with, oh, this is referring to my place. Your place isn't going to be ready tonight. We'll give you a free Airbnb for the night. So I was like, okay, I guess hopefully it's ready at a decent time tomorrow. They said, we'll have it ready when you check out the next day. They were like, come to me to get the key for the Airbnb in Tower 2. And we go to Tower 2, there's someone sitting there waiting for us. They come up and they're like, here you go. They give us the key and they're like, you want to go to the room? And then we're like, they spoke pretty fast. We didn't know exactly what they said, so we were like, okay, yeah. And then they just walked out. And we're just holding the key, and we're like, okay, we get in the elevator. We were like reading the key to see if there's a room number. There wasn't. Then we texted them, we got the room number. Finally got the key to that, and this whole time they were like, we'll have the key for your place ready tomorrow. Or they said that they would come and knock on the door to give me the key for the place that I'm staying in right now tomorrow. So I was just waiting for that night. Didn't happen. My realtors were very hands-off the whole time. I literally had to do nothing the whole time, but I also didn't ever see them, really.
Yeah, you've never seen your realtor. That's weird.
It was super weird. Then the next day, after this Airbnb, which it had a lot of roaches in it for some reason, I was just waiting for the key still. They said check out at 12. And I was like, okay, do you have the key ready? And it was ready. They said they left it in the mailbox. I was like, okay. They started asking if I was checked out or not yet. And I was like, who do I give the key to for this? And they're like, just leave it on the table. So I left the key on the table, go to the mailbox, find it. It's locked. The mailbox is locked. So we just have to stick our hand in the mailbox and grip the key out. That did give me the key to finally come up to this place and check in the next day at sometime in the afternoon. I don't remember exactly what time. So now he's settled into his, I'm settled into mine. Settled in quotations. We're in the place is what I mean.
And this will be in our next video, really. Just kind of showing you the nightmares of what we went through daily on. As some of you probably realized from not having our community posts and not having videos for 8 days, we didn't have Wi-Fi until, didn't we officially get it on the 8th? Isaac's water didn't work, your toilet didn't flush, just bad things happened.
The place when I moved into it was not cleaned at all, really. And there was a rice cooker full of some sort of adobo, like, sauce goop on the bottom that was just hidden away in the corner of one of the cabinets that if I wasn't deep cleaning the place, I wouldn't have ever noticed. It just wasn't cleaned at all. And tons of other stuff.
Mine wasn't as nearly as dirty as his, but mine still took all day to clean. And I rearranged mine, made a little office in this back room here instead of it being out in the living room like my desk and stuff. So it was a journey. We had to buy some stuff. You had to buy your oven and such.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff I had to buy for this place. Practically every task we had to do would take a full day, and it spanned over, it's the 13th now, I'd say we're about settled in. The 28th to the 13th, that's 15 days. Half a month it took us to get into these places practically. But during that time, I ran into Filipino boo.
Hey.
We saw each other. He's in this condo complex, I'm sure. You might see him on this channel soon.
And we ran into the Korean guy like 4 times.
It's weird. This place has a weird vibe to it. It's kind of cool, but you see a lot of the same people over and over.
It's like very diverse. Like there's a lot of white people here.
I met some
there's
guy from Zimbabwe the other day.
There's Koreans, Chinese people, tons of Filipinos obviously. It feels like a college campus in certain ways. It feels like a college campus and a beach resort. The way like the pool down there, you look around and there's palm trees and you're like, oh, I forgot, I'm in the Philippines, it's paradise.
It's quite the vibe. But yeah, so for the official amount we pay, we will pay $18,000.
18,000
for 2 studios. I think they're both about 25 square meters. Decent area, good buildings. They're overall pretty nice.
Right next to SM North. That's huge.
Yes. That is inclusive of the dues, not inclusive of utilities and Wi-Fi. Almost exactly $300.
So, I mean, it's pretty good. We see other people like getting condos in VGC and they are paying almost as much as we pay combined for one room.
Yeah, more sometimes.
Yeah, so I feel like we did a pretty good job budgeting it out.
Just wait, I know the comments will come. Oh, you actually could have gone here for $10. Whoa.
If you would have lived in Condo, you could have gotten it for $5.
We spent probably close to half a month looking for places, getting the process of buying, maybe even 3 weeks, looking for places and touring them. And then we spent 2 weeks moving in. We've spent over a month on this process. This is the best deal we're getting for the amount of time we spent.
We could have got cheaper, but we were like, all right, this needs to be done. We haven't had water in 2 weeks. So we're here. We have 2 rooms. We have office spaces. We have PCs. We have a pool. We have like 3 pools in this place. A basketball court. We're right next to SM North. Unlimited food, grocery stores. We can just walk to the grocery store.
It's like 5-minute walk. And The like condition of the buildings are pretty good. They're pretty new buildings as well.
Elevators are a bit slow.
The elevators are a bit slow. Yeah.
Elevators in the Philippines just seem slow in general.
And they seem to go out a lot. I don't know what the deal with that is. But yeah, it's a cool area. We're finally settled in for 6 months, so expect the Biscuit Boys to be here for sure for another 6 months. We're gonna be leaving for visa purposes every once in a while, but we are gonna be guaranteed here for 6 months. We're not leaving this lease.
Going to every single island in this freaking country.
Conquering every 7,641 of them.
And ducks coming with.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you very much. So now we're gonna go around and kind of show you the pool and stuff and just kind of what our life is like here. In the next video, you'll be able to see like how we walked SM North, all the things. Obviously, you've seen SM North in plenty of our videos, but kind of like our daily routine during the 15 days of tragedy.
The 15 days of tragedy, indeed. It fracking sucked.
So join us, let us show you our epicness, and let's go. As you can see, it kind of has like a hotel feel. Just kind of like an out pool area in the middle. I mean, look at that Christmas tree. Fancy.
It's so fancy. There's a lot of like Airbnbs, staycations and stuff here too. So a lot of people do just come here just for a few days.
It definitely has that feel. They have a bunch of pools. So they have like a kiddie pool.
The tropical greenery for like decoration.
Yeah, it literally, like the hotels that it's, oh, well, it can't be a video without a trip.
No, but every time. And it's a bit low, but you know.
It's perfect.
It's decor.
Decor. And we have some other things over here to show you. But these are the pool areas. Nobody's in them right now.
No, there's a lot of people that live in these and no one's in it. No one wants to swim when it's not like super hot out. What the heck?
How dare you? Look, it's pretty nice. Got the palm trees. The nice little, they don't have a ton of seats out there. You think they could have put more, but look at that.
No one wants to tan in the Philippines.
No, the opposite. We'll show you the street out there where all the restaurants are and stuff. And then out here is the main street. This is where you get dropped off by the taxi and stuff. There's like a Thai restaurant, a nail salon, some other restaurants, some Filipino restaurants and such down there.
A laundry thing, some Alpha Mart.
Alpha Mart, that's the grocery store or the new mini stop for us. And milk tea, potato corner. That's where we get our water jugs. And
there's like an ATM and some other restaurants right over there too.
And every one of the entrances just has a bunch of guards, so nobody can fracking get in here.
It's very secure in here, which is cool, I guess.
So, this is our life now.
Just chilling in cross residences.
Heck yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. I know this is a long talking video, a little different from what we usually do, but actually we usually just talk. We just sat this time.
Yeah, we didn't do as much walking around during a mall or something like that.
We just talked and sat and didn't point out things. We just complained about things. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you got some information about buying condos and stuff and our experience and what could possibly happen to you. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.